Hi everyone, my name is Braden Cohen, and today I'll be going over with you my assignment 6 video regarding the Harvard Business Review case. So the first question which I'll be discussing today is what the DICE business model is and what it does for us. So firstly, the DICE business model helps executives within an organization determine if a project is difficult to implement or manage. So by this, the DICE model allows these executives within an organization, or whether this be the project leader or whoever, to assign weighted variables to different portions of the DICE model. This allows the organization to see if the change management will be difficult, and if it will be worthwhile, and if your organization is ready to go through with these changes. Next, I believe that the DICE model allows for these executives to track the successes and the hardships within the change project that they're currently implementing. So the DICE model allows the company to compare data from previous projects to current projects and see how the numbers or percentages have changed and whether they fall in, let's say, the woe zone, the worry zone, or etc. So this is another way that the DICE model is used within an organization, even if it's subjectively or quantifiably. I also think that the DICE model is a guiding point for organizations. It allows them to see if their current changes have been successful, whether this and what needs to be changed. Whether this is reviewing their project more often, assigning on new project or team leaders, having one-on-one review sessions or debriefings with certain members, or kind of redefining the objectives within the project change scope and ensuring that people within the organization are still on board and willing to help and kind of move forward. So question number 2, if I were able to work with the DICE model in a current project or any project that I'm working for, what would I see as advantages? The first main advantage that I find from the DICE model is that it tracks your successes and failures. It allows you to quantifiably determine something that is so subjective into numbers. So for instance, it allows you to see if, from your review sessions, if you are on the right track within your change project. And by doing so, you're able to compare your current numbers to old numbers. So for instance, managing different project portfolios and comparing those from session to session, or seeing if the percent of effort that certain project managers have to put into your change efforts, have those gone down or up? Should we be changing the project leader? Do they still have motivation, and are they still tied towards our objectives? So things like this from the DICE model allow you to really kind of see the bigger picture and what exactly this change project is doing for your organization and if it's working or not working. So for instance, managing different project portfolios and comparing those from session to session, or seeing if the percent of effort that certain project managers have to put into your change efforts, have those gone down or up? I think what would frustrate me most about the DICE model is the fact that each project manager or person that's using it for a change management project within the organization is putting in different information because it's so subjective. So I could see how frustrating this would get once comparing to see if you believe that your change management is working successfully or not. I know this comes together and ties into the debriefing sessions so people can kind of compare their own answers, and this would help the project grow naturally and organically. But I could see this a lot of tension being brought forth, and seeing that if you may disagree if something's working and your kind of colleague might agree that it is working, and vice versa. So since it's so subjective, I can see where people really butt heads while using the DICE. So question 4 asks, what are your major takeaways from the DICE model in the article that you could apply to your project? Firstly, I would say is finding a change leader within the organization who can take on our recommendations and really implement them within RAPS, the organization we're working with. So question 4 asks, what are your major takeaways from the DICE model and the article that you could apply to your project? Firstly, I would say is finding a change leader within the organization who can take on our recommendations and really implement them within RAPS, the organization we're working with. So this person must be performance driven, must be deadline and task driven, must have the right amount of effort to put into the change project, and also must have the right skills in order to be adaptable and also to implement these changes in a timely manner. So the next thing I learned from this article is to have the objectives lined out before the changes take place. You need to make sure that the upper level management is transparent with the team within the organization so that they know how the objectives of the change management project affects them and how it will help better their time as a volunteer or employee.